You know, no matter how good or bad something is, there is always going to be someone out there who thinks otherwise. And, as long as whatever you're disagreeing on is legal, and doesn't hurt anyone, no one is technically in the wrong. In fact, having a different opinion on something with a friend can lead to an interesting discussion, which is exactly what today's video is about. And when it comes to the topic of shiny Pokemon, what better person to bring on than this guy?
Hey guys, TheSupremeRk9s here, and today I am back to help Alex out with another brand new shiny related video. This time around, instead of talking about shiny Pokemon that are really difficult to hunt, we decided we were just gonna straight up talk about shiny Pokemon that we disagree on. Now a similar kind of video has been done by MandJTV and TrueGreen7, where they took 5 Pokemon each that they disagreed on and kind of combated their thoughts. The difference here is we're not gonna be arguing about the Pokemon themselves, we're gonna base our argument solely on the shiny versions of them. So basically, yes, we are gonna be arguing about colors the entire time, so if you really think too hard about it, it's kind of sad. But trust me when I tell you, shiny Pokemon and the contrasting opinions people have on them is actually way more interesting than you think. So here's how it's gonna work. In this video, Alex is gonna show off 10 shiny Pokemon that he really doesn't like. They happen to be shiny Pokemon that I really love, so of course I'm gonna defend them. And then over on my channel, we're basically doing the same exact thing, except this time it's 10 shiny Pokemon that I hate and for whatever reason, he likes. So of course he's gonna try and defend those, and he'll probably fail miserably because those shiny Pokemon suck.
That's not true, but as Dallas said, do be sure to check out the video on his channel after this one. And before we start, if this video is going up on the right day, which hopefully it is. Today, exactly 2 years ago, was the day that Dallas and I posted our first collab. So what better day than to release this one? Call this our, as Dallas put it, collabiversary. So let's begin. Here are 10 shiny Pokemon I personally don't like that the TheSupremeRk9s does. And no matter what you say, Dallas, you are not going to change my mind because some of these shinies are really, really bad. Shiny Barbaracle. So I have no problem with the pink they added to the shiny. I just really dislike the horrible green tint given to the brown. It gives Barbaracle this dirty look that almost makes it somewhat sickening, like a lot of other shinies with nasty greens added to them. The pink and green just don't go well together at all. I also think it's one of the laziest shinies from its generation. 6 gens when Game Freak actually started picking the colours for the shinies, instead of leaving it to palette swaps. And Barbaracle shiny almost doesn't look like they picked the colours, and is one of the few that they just left to a palette swap.
Okay, now normally these two colors make for some of the worst shiny Pokemon in existence, but being that Barbaracle is already such an aesthetically displeasing creature, he literally looks like a kid made him out of Play-Doh, I feel like this off-putting shiny really matches its personality well. So for real, yes, I do understand where people are coming from when they say they don't like this shiny, but understand that I don't like it because it's beautiful, I like it because it works.
Well, I unfortunately don't see that, like, at all. If I were to fix this shiny, I think simply making the green parts a deep purple makes Barbaracle look a lot more aesthetically pleasing. And if you wanted to go all out, even changing the pink parts to a blue also looks really nice. This I feel would go along with the water typing really well.
I will give you this, when I saw your shiny Pokemon, I did like them a lot and think they actually worked really well, just like the original design. Does that mean that I choose them over the original design? Not even close. But I do think that they would look good, and if they were the original shiny, then I wouldn't be upset about it.
Shiny Hitmonchan. This is a similar case with Barbaracle. I like the blue gloves that were added. That change is pretty cool. It's just the colour added to the skin is not a pleasant sight. It's again pretty sickening. In fact, pretty much the same thing happened to Hitmonlee, except Hitmonlee in this case didn't get any cool blue features added. It seems to be the case with a lot of green shinies, and why they tend to be quite unpopular. For me, if a shade of green given to a shiny looks good on it, I'm perfectly fine with it. But if the green colour just looks bad, that's where for me it doesn't work.
Now don't get me wrong, I'm totally with you guys on the green tint thing. I think this green actually looks pretty disgusting on any Pokemon, so for Hitmonlee, I'm not a fan at all. But when it comes to Hitmonchan, the reason that I like it so much is that there are multiple layers to it. It's not just all one color. We've got the clothes he wears, which believe it or not does actually change quite a bit, and of course the blue gloves, which makes this shiny so freaking amazing. Now for some of you, these added accents won't be enough to actually make this a good shiny, but for me and a lot of other people that have actually hunted this before, the change is so much different thanks to these. It really makes sure that the green doesn't make it too dull or overtake the shiny, and for real, it breaks it up just enough to keep it from being boring. If Hitmonchan was entirely green, of course I wouldn't actually like it. I don't know, maybe it's because I'm a sucker for blue shinies, but I really think these gloves pack a nice subtle punch without completely knocking you out.
Unfortunately, the gloves alone aren't enough to save this shiny, which is why to fix it, I'd simply change the green to a more fitting colour. A light purple I think suits Hitmonchan really well, and is even more fitting since it matches its previous evolution Tyrogue. Or, go the distance and make this shiny a complete callback to Tyrogue. Now of course this shiny would never have happened, because back then shinies were determined by palette swaps, and getting the colours to be identical to Tyrogue would have been unlikely as hell. But if they did ever think about tweaking some shinies in the future, like they've done in the past, I honestly think this one would work really well.
My honest opinion on this, I think you put up a really good fight here, but for real, comparing your shinies to the original, it's no contest. And don't get that twisted, I really do like your shinies, I think you did a good job with them, but for real, if I were to choose one of yours over the original, I would have to stick with what we were given.
Shiny Lickitung. For the most part, I do have a soft spot for yellow shinies. Some of them in my opinion look amazing. Lickitung unfortunately is not one of them. The yellow shade used on it isn't really a nice looking yellow shade, like ones used on other shinies, especially its sprites. The 3D model isn't as bad, but the yellow shade used on the sprites is pretty nasty looking.
Now, yes, I know that I'm typically known for ragging on gold shinies with the whole when in doubt, gold it out thing, but for real, I honestly feel like this is one of the only shinies that gold actually works on. Lickitung shiny doesn't just change to a bright yellow like Azumarill or an orangish gold like Geodude. No. Despite taking on a color change that so many freaking shinies have themselves, this little freak got his own unique tint of it. Aside from that, even though this guy's entire body goes from pink to gold, for some reason his tongue gets to stay pink. This is obviously a brilliant callback to the original color scheme, and when you find this thing in the wild, which I'll just say is not exactly easy to do because they don't show up in a lot of games, the contrast between the pink tongue and the gold body is going to scare the crap out of you. You are going to notice this thing right away, and I don't care if I stand alone with it. This is an amazing shiny, and it's one that I completely love.
I don't even want to imagine what a shiny Lickitung would look like if its tongue was changed to yellow as well. If the yellow shade was better suiting, I'd probably be fine with it. Additionally, a better suiting colour in my opinion would be a nice light blue. Blue tends to be the go-to colour for a lot of shinies. Purple I think would also work, although this colour scheme does remind me quite a lot of another purple Pokemon.
I feel like you're coming after me now, making all of these shinies blue, thinking I'm gonna stray from my original thought. Yes, of course I love your blue shiny one, but Lickitung I feel like is one of the original gold shinies, and if I were to change any of them, he would not be it.
Shiny Ursaring. Oh boy. There are very few Pokemon that, in my opinion, bright green suits. And honestly, the majority of shinies that have this colour are most likely the main reason why green shinies are hated as much as they are. Ursaring is supposed to be a big, intimidating grizzly bear. Giving it a gummy bear look doesn't suit it at all. It'd be like if they made, I don't know, Nidoking bright green. It just looks kind of lame, especially compared to its actual shiny. This is another case where the shiny colour was left to a palette swap, and unfortunately Ursaring got pretty unlucky in that regard.
You know, I really used to think I was biased when it came to shiny Pokemon, but I'm starting to think I'm one of the few people in the world that actually appreciates lime green ones. And no, I'm not saying all of them are perfect, but the reason I'll defend Ursaring to no end is that ring on its belly. And some of you might not think these two colors look good together, but for me, having a lighter color next to the green like that really complements it, especially in older sprites. And for real, let's be honest, if you were out in the wild and you saw something this different in color, not only would it completely terrify you, but it would obviously be something you would never forget. And you know what? For all of you lime green haters out there, I actually like the nuclear look. I think it makes it look pretty cool.
Just because something might look nuclear or radioactive doesn't mean it looks good. There are some instances where it works well, but here, if they simply made the green a darker shade, it would look so much better. This is already a massive improvement. Alternatively, you could go the boring route and just make the fur black, but here it also works really well, and makes sense, with one of the bears Ursaring is based on being an Asian black bear. And I don't really see the need to change the yellow parts as well, but if it did look good, then I don't see why not.
Yeah, okay, if the actual shiny looked like this and was black, of course I would absolutely love it. Probably even more so than the original design. But just because other colors would look good on it doesn't mean that the original is bad. I understand that lime green on a bear isn't exactly a natural look, but as crazy as it sounds, I kind of feel like that's a good argument on why it works as a shiny.
Shiny Garbodor. Having a Pokemon that's literal garbage is bad enough. Having a Pokemon that's literal garbage that also looks like someone vomited on it after having a slushie is not appealing to me in the slightest. The colours used in this shiny almost make Garbodor look like something nice you'd like to eat, which is even worse since, again, it's literal fucking garbage.
Okay, so yeah, maybe it does look like someone's throw up slushie, but Alex, Puke has never looked this good. You have to remember that yes, no matter what color change this guy takes on, he's always going to be a pile of garbage. I feel like so many people let their opinions on the Pokemon itself define what looks good as a shiny. I don't know. I happen to really love this guy. Wait, okay, we're talking about Garbodor? Okay, so, yeah, Garbodor,
I happen to really love this guy.
To try my hand at making a decent shiny for Garbodor, the first thing I tried was making the bag a deep red. I thought it came out okay, but I do think if Garbodor kept the shiny colours from its pre-evolution, this shiny would have been a lot better overall.
You know, Alex, they say one man's trash is another man's treasure, but the shinies you made here are only trash. I'm sorry, I'm just a huge fan of the original shiny. Your shinies are good. I don't know, I just really love the original shiny. I'm sorry, do not hate me, please.
Shiny Mega Charizard X. This is a case where the original colours are way too close to perfect, so most changes are only going to be worse. I do think the red colour added was a nice touch, but replacing the black with this greenish coat just comes off so much less cool, which is a shame as regular Charizard and even the Y form have such amazing shinies.
I personally think they did the best they could with what they had here. The original design for Mega Charizard X is black, so obviously they couldn't keep that shiny chain. And being most of my favorite shinies are a variation of this bluish green, it should be no surprise that I'm a fan of making the switch to this color. And sure, maybe the accent colors do look a little wild at first, but keeping the original red from Shiny Charizard is awesome, and blue flames look good on any fire starter. Put all of that together, and seriously, it looks like nothing else we've ever seen when it comes to shinies.
That might be true, but again, it doesn't necessarily mean it looks good. It's a real shame because there are two clear options they could have gone with, but obviously didn't. So the first and most expected one would be to make Charizard X's shiny share the same colours as the regular form, being orange with the bluish greenish wings, although not gonna lie, I wasn't a big fan of this look. So I tried the original colours, and just swapping the blue parts out, apart from the flames, for a nice red, and I think it works really great. It's a simple change, but it does make a very noticeable difference.
Now that I've seen it, I do think the original black design could have stayed and still would have worked well. So if they did go with something a little more like your design, I honestly probably would have been just as happy.
Shiny Torracat. Let me make this clear. I love Shiny Litten. Litten Shiny in my opinion is amazing. Shiny Incineroar is mixed. Shiny Torracat though for me doesn't really work. I think the biggest issue with this shiny is the combination of orange and white. Red and white in my opinion works amazingly together, most of the time. Orange instead of red though, just makes the colours look pretty washed out. It's hard to say what the slight difference of red to orange makes, but with the white to me it just doesn't work as well as the other colours.
Alex, orange and white from black and red, not only is this an amazing contrast from the original colors, but it's the perfect Halloween shiny for a Halloween cat!
Listen, I'm sure there are people out there who think orange and white go amazingly together, which is fine. But out of curiosity, I did try changing the orange to red, and I do already think it's a huge improvement. Other shiny colours I tried, and in my opinion came out better than the actual shiny, is taking the normal colours of Torracat and changing the orange to red, as a throwback to its pre-evolution, making the cat black and blue, because, well, no real reason, I just wanted to see what blue looked like, and it came out looking alright. But my personal favourite custom shiny for Torracats would be black and white, giving it a white tiger look. And even you yourself, Dallas, have to agree with this one, considering you've used this exact combination before.
I mean, sure, there are a ton of colors that would probably look better on this thing. You know I love the white tiger design, I did the same thing in my shiny speculations for it. But personally, I'm always gonna think this shiny's very fitting, and I'll even go as far as to say I prefer it over the red and white you see on the rest of the family.
Shiny Weavile. I'm overall very mixed on this shiny. Main reason being that its sprites and 3D model don't share the same shades of pink. But even so, making a dark and cool looking Pokemon like Weavile bright pink and yellow just doesn't suit it in my opinion. Sneasel I think it works decently, but whenever someone points to Weavile as the best pink shiny, or at least one of the best, I always point to Celebi. This is a great pink shiny. This, in my opinion, doesn't really work.
Now, I am well aware that these two colors don't really make a lot of sense on such a dark and mischievous Pokemon like Weavile, but just like I said with Ursaring, I think that's why I like it so much. Never in a million years would someone expect shiny Weavile to have these colors on it. And so if you've never seen the shiny and you finally come across it, it's gonna be a complete shock to you. Isn't that what shiny hunting is really all about? The whole reason I do it is for the excitement and the thrill. A huge part of that is the difference in color. That being said, I really don't know why so many people rag on this pink and yellow look. I feel like if it was on another shiny Pokemon, people would love it. Either way, I happen to think they look nice together, especially for something so rare.
It might look nice to some people, but it just doesn't suit a Pokemon like Weavile. It also does possibly the worst job representing the Pokemon's typings. What I think would work a lot more would be to simply take the original colours and changing the red to a nice icy blue. Not only does this represent the ice typing perfectly, but it also looks really cool. If not blue, then purple also suits it really well. Hell, even changing Weavile to a white I think also works, giving it a nice Arctic vibe. Well, at least they look better than the pink and yellow anyway. Oh! That's one nasty looking shiny. Of all the shiny Pokemon on this list, I'm pretty certain this is the one that Dallas and I disagree on the most. Because Dallas absolutely loves this shiny, and I think it's f***ing shit. The yellow on this thing does not work at all. The pink parts as well is like a reverse shiny Weavile, except I can at least see the positives of shiny Weavile. You know what this shiny looks like? It looks like it's made of Play-Doh. It's supposed to be a big, intimidating, cool-looking mythical. Why go with a colour scheme that makes it look like a toddler drew it?
Okay, so I couldn't disagree with you more. I absolutely love this shiny, and I'm not afraid to say that I wholeheartedly believe that I like it so much because it reminds me of a slip and slide, which you happen to use with water, and funny enough, Volcanion is part water type, so hey, how about that? The shiny does make sense. Aside from all of that, I think the pink and the blue accent colors really jump off the yellow and make it stand out like crazy. Not to mention that all the colors are so far from their original that it looks like a completely new Pokemon. I don't know if there's really anything you can say to change my mind, but we can try.
You know what, Dallas? Good for you. I'm glad someone likes this extremely distasteful colour scheme on a Pokemon that deserves so much better. So looking to make a good shiny for Volcanion was kind of challenging, since its original colour scheme is so perfect on it. One obvious option would be to change the red to blue. This makes the most sense given its typing. Other colours I tried out were purple, since purple is a mixture of red and blue, and I also gave it a black coating because, let's face it, most black shinies just look really cool. None of these I feel are particularly better than the original colouring, since I think red suits it best. But even so, I would much prefer any of these over this.
I will say that your shinies are super good, but honestly, you could make a million different shinies and I still would choose the original one. I just can't shake it. These are the types of shinies that I love. If someday we are able to shiny hunt this thing, you guys know I'm gonna be first in line to do it.
And finally, the 10th shiny Pokemon that Dallas and I disagree on. So, I really wish I was someone whose favourite Pokemon had an amazing shiny. Like, if my favourite Pokemon was Greninja or Metagross, that would be awesome. I unfortunately am not one of these people, because my all-time favourite Pokemon shiny looks like this. What the fuck? Why? Why would they allow this? I mean, you think if a palette swap shiny looked pretty terrible, they'd maybe tweak it a bit. No. Do people think that sunburnt Pokemon look good? I mean, I'll give it this, the purple parts, they look alright. But why does it have to become pink? The main reason I dislike this shiny as much as I do was back in 5th gen, I decided to try out a shiny Infernape, and I immediately stopped because it was hurting my eyes. That's how you know a shiny is bad, when it's causing physical abuse. Now, shiny Infernape is far from the worst shiny out there, but I feel like when someone's favourite Pokemon has a shiny that disappoints them, even just a little bit, they hate it a lot more than the average person would.
This guy already is an amazing Pokemon, and for real, to me, the shiny's no different. It's amazing. The pink alone on this thing looks amazing, and it's a shiny change I would have never expected to see. And complement that with the purple hands? Are you freaking kidding me? Forget about it. This, in my opinion, is one of those shinies that is super underrated, and I will never understand why so many people overlook it.
You don't understand, Alice. Like I said, when you dislike your favorite Pokemon shiny, it's basically one of the worst things you've ever seen. So, unsurprisingly, I went pretty overboard when it came to the custom shinies for the greatest starter Pokemon in existence. The first thing I tried was giving Infernape the Emboar job, of changing the flame to blue. It's a simple change, but it works pretty well alongside the other blue parts. I also tried adding more blue, to go with the blue theme. Doesn't really go too well with the typing, although neither did its original shiny. But it does go with the blue flame at least. Next I tried making the hair black, similar to a gorilla. I then messed around a bit with some of the other colours that complemented the black more, and honestly I think it's already so much better. I also tried adding the blue from before, which came out looking alright, but maybe the change was a bit too drastic. So I tried a mixture of both, and if this was the shiny, I would be perfectly happy with it. I also tried turning the hair white, which I think looked pretty cool, although I do think the black suited it a bit better. I tried some more with the brown, changing the blue parts to red, and despite the small change, I think it looks really nice. I also tried the blue flame, and I think these two are my favourites so far. Then I tried the original colour, swapping the reds and blues around, and damn, it just looks so much better than the original shiny.
Okay, relax. Yes, your shinies are good. You did a good job. For real, I wasn't expecting to actually like yours better than the original, but some of the ones you just showed me would be amazing as the shiny. But I do think that that's partly because you made so many. Of course, one of them's gonna stick. But in all seriousness, yes, of course, we're gonna have different opinions on what looks good and what doesn't, but I was pleasantly surprised at some of the ones that you made. And at the end of the day, if it came down to you making the shinies for the next generation, well, you better call me for help.
Oh, I definitely would, Dallas. I definitely would. Unless you were going to make any shinies that look like these, then I'm afraid it would be a no-go. Well, I hope you enjoyed Dallas and I going through shinies that I think are bad, that Dallas happens to like. The list was actually a lot harder to make than we initially thought, since there are some shinies that either of us either liked or disliked, but not enough to argue for or against. But if there's one thing that we can both agree on, it's that at the very least, none of these shinies, despite how bad they are quite as terrible as Nidoqueen's.
I could not have said it better myself. And of course, thanks again for having me on your channel. This was a complete blast to make. And don't forget to head over to my channel and check out the video where Alex tries to defend the shiny Pokemon that I hate. Are they as bad as Nidoqueen? Probably not. But for real, I still can't stand them.
They're definitely not as bad as Nidoqueen's, because those shinies are actually good. So, if you want to see Dallas and I argue about 10 more shinies, this time ones that I happen to like, that Dallas does not, feel free to head over to his channel. But for now, please do leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more videos in the future, and until next time, thanks so much for watching.